October 23rd, 2017. The headlines are talking all about China speeding ahead of the United States in the quantum race. As the quantum race is escalating, it's worrying scientists, mostly on the United States side. Looking over here, we have U.S. and Western scientists voice awe and even alarm at China's quickening advances in spending on quantum communications and computing. Revolutionary technologies that could give them huge military and commercial advantage to the nation that conquers them. The concerns echo, although to a lesser degree, the shock in the West 6 decades ago when the Soviets launched the Sputnik satellite, sparking a new race in space. So yeah, it does definitely echo what we experienced in the 50s with the whole race to space, and culminated in the 60s, and eventually with the United States in 1969 landing on the moon. In a quick succession, China in recent months has utilized a quantum satellite to transmit ultra-secure data, inaugurated a 1,243-mile quantum link between Shanghai and Beijing, and announced a $10 billion quantum computing center. So they are really investing very heavily in this. And they have a patience in that they know this is something that is going to produce benefits farther down the line. But just such an extreme amount of benefit, because the quantum computing world is going to completely leave what we have gotten used to in the dirt. It's just going to be night and day. And they have a concerted effort going to master this technology. There are so many uses to it, and of course everything always boils down into the military uses as well. So perhaps more than the accomplishments of the Chinese scientists is the resources that China is putting into the research of how atoms, photons, and other basic molecular matter can be harnessed to process and transmit information. So encryption, this is going to just completely revolutionize encryption. And of course encryption is something that the military is always all about. You know, if you could crack the codes of your enemy, you know what he's doing, you know what he's planning. This is part of why the United States and the Allies ended up winning World War II. It was cracking codes. So this is something that is definitely very big, but just also it's going to revolutionize the way we live. And computing is going to become thousands of times faster, thousands of times more powerful than what it is right now. So this is huge, huge. And as the balance of power has started to shift from the west to the east, it's really, you have these mega millionaires like Jack Ma, or billionaires, who are also helping to fund this, and that's part of who is doing this. Alibaba is building a $15 billion researching quantum computing facility. And not only that, but they're also going to be heavily getting into AI. And many of the world's top scientists, including Stephen Hawking, has said that AI could be the death of the human race. And yeah, that's definitely alarmist and scary, but when you think about it, it's the Frankenstein monster waiting to be created. And there's been so many movies done on that, and there's so many different philosophies that point to AI being possibly the ultimate nightmare scenario and taking over. So you remember the Terminator series with Skynet, when it became self-aware. It is what decided the human race is too much of a hazard for the planet, so it decided to get rid of the human race in order to protect the planet, the resources, and itself. So AI anyway. Jack Ma, that you see here in the picture, he is a billionaire, and he is the founder of Alibaba. So he is putting up, sources say, anywhere between 10 and 15 billion on research into quantum computing, AI, and more. And he's building a huge facility that's going to hopefully make some breakthroughs, and very, very exciting, but yet scary at the same time with the level of technology that will be coming out of there. So Alibaba is trying to compete with Amazon for domination of the commerce. Now this one says, mind-boggling. China is building a quantum computing center that dwarfs any in existence today. And these are all pretty new articles coming out in the last couple days. So quantum computers have the potential to solve problems that would take a classical computer longer than the age of the universe. It's going to be completely revolutionary. This could lead to all those things we've envisioned. If you're one of the older folks around, back in the Jetsons, you know, flying cars being something that everybody has, all sorts of wild, crazy technology that we envisioned, you know, growing up back in the 70s, the 80s, or even in the 50s and the 60s, and expected we would have by now. Well, you know, this is the technology that could bring all those things to us. And one of the major things, again, is encryption, because they will be able to instantaneously get through any sort of walls that are made in traditional security that we have now. So he who masters this technology will be able to get into anybody's firewall. There will be nothing that could stop him. So he who has the money is going to have the power, and you can see that things are shifting. You know, Japan has for long been a very, very financial stable power. China has been on the uprise, and you can see China is starting to pass Japan now in their treasury holdings. These are the top 5 creditor nations, the ones out there lending money, and you can see China, it dwarfs all of them. You know, everybody else here. You have Japan next, Germany, Saudi Arabia, and Switzerland, and then the top debitor nations. And here you have the United States, obviously, with the largest debt in the world: Spain, UK, Australia, and France. So, you know, who does the United States owe? Basically, you know, we owe China, we owe Japan, we owe these other countries $5.6 trillion. And then we owe 4.3 to other U.S. investors, mostly, you know, corporations and different municipalities. And then we owe 4.8 trillion to ourselves. Look at Social Security and deposit insurance, federal employee retirement benefits. So, you know, we are definitely robbing from ourselves in the United States. We're robbing our future and our ability to continue to lead the world in various ways because of our debt. And as I've showed before in other videos, where is all of our money going? Well, such a huge proportion of it is going into the military to be the world's policeman, which eventually is going to leave us bankrupt. You could see the parallels between the United States and the great Roman Empire, which eventually crumbled. It was decaying from within. There was a decadence on the inside that led to the downfall of it, and eventually the German barbarians were at the gates, and it fell. And this is something that the United States should keep in mind. You have to get the debt under control if you want to continue to lead the world. But the balance of power is shifting to the east, and if China does master this technology, they will definitely lead the world in pretty much everything. It's just a matter of time. So we have a new space race going on between the United States and China, and you know, that at stake is basically leadership of the world technologically, and that will trickle down into militarily as well, and financially. So thank you so much for joining Evolutionary Energy Arts. Please like if you enjoyed this content, and then subscribe for new recordings coming out every day. Thank you so much for joining us once again. Take care.